Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking by Zoey. This tutorial is on how to make mini ube cheesecakes. I'm actually not a very big fan of cheesecakes, but when I was playing around with recipes on how to make cheesecake, I decided to try ube, and actually, surprisingly, I actually really like this flavor. Here is all of the ingredients I'll be using for today's recipe, and I've also listed the amounts here. Please make sure everything is at room temperature. To begin, we'll first want to ground up our vanilla wafer cookies in a food processor chopper to equal approximately 1 cup. This is how your grounded vanilla wafer should look like. You'll next want to melt your butter. I'm using a whole stick, but you only need 5 tablespoons of melted butter into this recipe here. So add in 5 tablespoons of melted butter to the grounded vanilla wafer. Mix these until they are moistened. You'll also want to get your baking pan and baking liners or cups ready. So mix until moistened. You'll know that it's ready when you press a few amounts between your thumb and your index finger and they form a flat piece. Then you can go ahead and proceed with the next step. Next, you'll want to add 1 heaping tablespoon of the crumbs onto the bottom of the cupcake liner. You will have some extra left, and if you do, just disperse those to each of the cups. Next, you'll want to grab a spoon and kind of press down on the crumbs. I also like to use a glass cup or a shot glass cup and press down the crumbs. That way I have an even flat surface. So just like this. After I form a flat surface, I like to cover it with saran wrap and place it into the refrigerator while I am making the next step. For the next step, we're going to make the cheesecake part. Make sure everything is at room temperature. You'll also want to preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. In a bowl or an electric stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, you'll want to add in 16 ounces of cream cheese room temperature, and you'll want to beat this on low speed number 2. Make sure to beat the cream cheese for a few seconds. Stop, use a spatula, scrape the side of the bowl and the paddle attachment, and then beat it for another few seconds. What we want is a creamy texture and that there is no lumps or clumps. After the cream cheese looks soft, silky, and creamy, we're going to go ahead and add in our granulated sugar, which is ½ a cup. Allow these 2 ingredients to beat together for a few seconds, and then next we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of ube extract. We don't want to overbeat or beat this on a very high speed, so I'm just sticking to speed number 2 or on stir. So after I added in the ube extract, I'm going to change the speed to just stir and let this mix together very well. And in between, I'm going to stop and scrape the side of the bowl and scrape the paddle. That way everything is mixed well and incorporated. After the ube extract has been mixed well in with the cream cheese and the sugar, and everything looks pretty silky, soft, smooth, and well incorporated into this vibrant purple color, then we're going to add in our ube halea jam, which is 1/3 cup. And this jam I did not make. I actually purchased from my local Asian grocery store. So if you have an Asian grocery store or a Filipino, grocery store, take a look at that and maybe they might carry it, or you can check on Amazon. Or you can make it yourself. And if you want to learn how to make this yourself, you can check some of my recipe on my channel. It's similar to this, not exactly the same, but it definitely will work as well. Now this jam is quite sweet already, so that's why in my recipe I only use ½ a cup of sugar. So again, turn this to speed, stir, let it mix well. If it looks like there's some clumps, make sure you scrape the side of the bowl and the paddle and let it mix for a few more seconds. Next, we're going to add in our 2 large eggs. Make sure they're room temperature, but we're not going to add them both together. We're going to do one at a time. So while this is on stir, add in 1 of the egg. Let it mix for a few seconds until it looks like it's almost incorporated. And then we're going to add in our second egg and do the same thing. Let that mix for a little bit, and then lastly, we are going to add in our sour cream. Now, sour cream is optional. I like it because it gives this creamier taste to it, but if you don't want to add it, you can opt out. For the sour cream, I'm just using whatever that's available at my local grocery store. Doesn't have to be any specific brand or type. This is just original sour cream. That's Kroger brand. Once the sour cream has been added in, turn the speed back on to stir and just repeat the process. You want to make sure that everything is well incorporated. Make sure to scrape the side of the bowl and the paddle. And then once this is mixed well together, you're going to go ahead and turn it off, and we'll proceed with the next step, which is getting this ingredient on top of our crust and ready for baking. One other thing that I did not mention is that for the topping, I use these cute little mini Ube crinkle cookies, and it's optional if you want to learn how to make that. I have a recipe and I'll link that down below. So I removed my crust from the refrigerator. I'm using this ice cream scooper, and here is my ube filling that it's ready. So I'm just gonna use this ice cream scooper, scoop 1 spoon of this filling into each of these cupcake liner. And it should be enough for this whole 12 tray. Exactly, you should not have a whole lot left, and you should not be short of any amount unless you're giving a heaping spoonful, and you just pretty much want to level it to the very top of the ice cream scoop. Next, we're going to bake our mini cheesecake in the middle rack of our oven for 20 minutes or until it is firm, but in the center of the cheesecake, it still feels a little wobbly. Should look something similar to this. After the mini cheesecakes are baked and ready, remove them from the heat and let them cool completely. Next, you'll want to place them in the refrigerator and allow them to cool for 8 hours or more before removing from the fridge, before decorating them, and before removing them from the cupcake liner. This is how I decorated my mini Ube cheesecake. You can decorate however you want. If you want recipe on how to make the whipped cream, please do check out my tutorial. I have several recipes on there. This is just an original whipped cream, and then the purple part I flavor it with a little bit of ube flavoring. And again, these mini ube crinkle cookies, I have a recipe for regular size. All you would need to do is just make them into mini bite size. For the ube cheesecake, they do tend to dent in a little after they have rested. To avoid further dentation, just avoid putting any saran wrap on top when you place it in the refrigerator. Otherwise, the saran wrap will cause more moisture and then it'll dent in more. So here is how my mini Ube cheesecakes are made. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, do comment down below and I'll try to answer those questions. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.